as sort of a beginner is, how do you decide, what size fly to use? So suppose I'm just going to use Kambari and I'm, going out, what size fly do I buy?
I think I could probably do that one and pass it around because it could be kind of a simple, quick one for everybody to answer in terms of size of fly. I always start with whatever fly I had on my last day of fishing. So that's how I start. And I do have a very quick story that I'll share about that. We're fishing the Colorado River with my neighbor Alan, who's here, and a famous fly fishing guide here in Colorado. I tie my line onto the rod tip and I pull my line out, and I had the size 8 fly, Tenkara fly. And the guy turned to me and he's like, well, I don't really know much about Tenkara, but this is a small fly fishery, right? It's not sure if that's gonna work. So I go upstream and I catch a fish, within 3 casts. And I release it, they see it, and I go on 2 more casts, I catch my second fish, and I look back, they're still setting up their rod and reel, and Alan probably remembers that. And later on, the guy turned to him and he said, that poor guy, he's not gonna catch a single fish today, his fly is the size of a hummingbird. So that kind of gives you a little bit of my philosophy on that, but generally the rules of thumb that I learned from Ishigaki sensei as well, that I like, start with what I have first. If the water's running kind of high or murky, go larger. If the water, is kind of like average, size 12 is kind of like the average size fly. And if nothing else is working, we go size 16 usually. So that's kind of my approach. And if Ishigaki sensei has anything to add.
12サイズ12なぜそれは最もですね、標準的なともかく基本のサイズ12
He thinks, Dr. Ishigaki thinks that's the very standard regular size of the fly that you can start.
そして魚がですね、それでは反応しなかった場合は、毛針のサイズを小さくします。
And he would downsize the size of kibari when there's no reaction from the fish.
14番、そして16番まで私は、小さくします。
Down to number 14 and to 16.
それ以上小さな毛針は使用しません。
Well, I don't use that smaller kibari.
なぜなら私の目が見えないからです。
Because smaller than number 16, I cannot see them.
老眼です。
Well, I also use mostly one fly, pheasant tail and partridge soft hackle in different sizes. In fact, I spent a whole year only fishing that fly, and I used it for bonefish, for steelhead, Atlantic salmon, trout, and I caught more fish than I've ever caught. But what I found out is that color is the least important part of a fly. That pheasant tail imitates virtually every fly almost. So I start out with a bigger fly, a size 12 maybe, when I approach a river, and then if a hatch happens, I drop down in size to try to get to that same size as what's happening with the hatch. I mean, I don't continue fishing a size 12 and expecting a good result. So if there's midges, I'll go down to a size 20. I tie, a midge is a very active little larva. Some flies are not active underwater and some are. Blue-winged olives, very active little fly and really good for soft hackles and to give them a little twitch. And same with midges. Midges are very active. Well, I'm not going to throw a size 12 fly when there's a midge hatch going on. So, pay attention to what's going on, but don't bother changing types of flies. I really found that it's just unnecessary.
Size 12 flies work
pretty much everywhere I go, and if they ever stop working, I guess I'll consider fishing something smaller. As far as anything that would drive me to fish a larger size, that's entirely condition dependent. If the water's especially turbid, then that might drive me to put on something with a larger profile. But for the most part, I'm going to stick with size 12. As far as trout goes, other species are a different matter, but if it isn't broke, don't fix it. So size 12 does the trick.
And I do agree. I mean, like, you know, the other thing is signaling, like what bugs you see out. If you see a very large bug, go the largest fly you have. If you do see a very small bug, you know, go small. So that I do pay attention to that as well.